When your neutered dog's dick. When your neutered dog's dick shoots out into space like a Cassini probe in search of a bacchanalian proctological exam, change is in the wind. Rubber-gloved deities exchange phone numbers and bodily fluids in darkened choir stalls, spied upon by guilt-ridden clerics and ransacked by bad cops going good. I taught a putty-tat today. A mangy, monstrous, saber-toothed warthog of a thing, performing cavity searches of indentured Rhine maidens, whose slave nights over faux porcelain bidets, left unsanitized by tidy men in bowler hats and unwashed T-shirts long ago abandoned by Italian grandfathers, roaming in penthouse forums with abridged views and clearly up to no good. Roughed out, patted down, and sold down the river by TSA scanners, wearing cheap facades, and crowing about their hawking radiation-proof investments through their obviously unhygienic oxygen masks. The world is a comedy for those who stink, and a tragedy for those who must smell them. No kissing in coach or petting in the cockpit, where olive-tinged scrotums melt in the mouths of platinum-haired stewardesses on Mediterranean diets, planted in thick compost and freshly smeared by dung-wielding immigrants listening to the White Album on their shit-stained iPods. Have a close friend lie to you while massaging your gums and scraping damp steel wool over your heavily knitted brow, while maniac spinsters plot eviscerating revenge on you out to the 12th generation. Hope they die before you get old. When shall we three meet again? Let's plan for the very next Council of Nicaea, or that inevitable umpteenth Aerosmith farewell concert. Barring that, how about at the nurse's station after evening meds? Though it would seem the character of our collective tsuris now cleaves to the ward like a Jewish caricature, of interest only to elderly, conscience-ridden former Third Reich bodyguards, and or the most soulful of Creedmoor inmates. Yeah, that would be us, you and I, without regard to race, color, whether one is up to speed, or has AARP discounted tickets to PBS-sponsored classic rock shows, whose horizons are either limitless or partially covered by Blue Cross. Your hearts hope to die at or near the same time you do. Ergo, choose Erykah Badu, but well before her Urdu phase, before the plague of Ebonics spread its freshly creamed cheese in and throughout the svelte, sweaty thighs of a popular culture unknown before the sudden Byzantine advent of Greek yogurt, milked by shepherds and fermented by sleazy Madison Avenue types, their deadened souls raised on robbery, and stacking staff-infested ShopRite shelves to the strains of rancid, honey-vanilla arrangements of Woodstock. Their peanut allergies, a long-forgotten nightmare of their repressed childhoods, in which both underwear and regimes were changed brutally and with no notice. The 120 days of Saddam, buckled up, hunkered, and bunkered down in a crepuscular crevice, a fissured fistula, in which no self-respecting fishmonger would care to cast his couch with either snug or ill-fitting garments, the subject of nasty gossip of pill-popping matrons, shut away in more or less lenient districts by obese administrators. When you see mortality in a blade of grass, terror? Vertigo? Pickup or delivery? Brown rice with that? The park itself comes undone, unglued. The bees mushroom to prehistoric size. The mushrooms lie poisonous and hysterical in the choked breeze. The dog knows full well, sniffed it out ages ago, but he is as resigned as you are not. You would wiggle your way into that woodpecker hole were you tiny enough, and were it not maggot-infested, you would paint warnings in the sky with the once full stream of your adolescent bladder, if you could. Were there anyone sufficiently ripe to read and understand them? Better to dribble your piss in a fast melting snow, and gorged and prostrate to no one in particular, to the well-sinewed sweat and spunk of a past you barely remember. The end times are coming. Maybe for all, but definitely for you. Put a pot on the stove. I hear Persephone enjoys herbal teas from China. All of them, in fact. Her depression has made of her a promiscuous drunkard, though high-functioning. That is to say, she will not be dissuaded from or forget her purpose in coming. Nor will the acrid mothballs you've placed carefully around the perimeter of your house serve to distract her. Not to mention, the moths have all recently evolved to eat them without harm anyway. On the way to your garments, on the way to your guts, no glory, no hallelujahs or hosannas, and no overpriced Neiman Marcus hosiery. Sock your cash away in a bedbug-infested mattress, your earthly treasure. You can take it with you on a leisurely bike ride to your Last Supper, where it will be put in a collection plate and fed to worms on a strict probiotic diet of angst and flesh. Darker and darker the night, more and more insipid the grins of those who choose not to notice. This world is not all. It cannot possibly be all. The sheer, intolerable, brute stupidity that we would be forced to face were it to be so, proves that it is not. I undid the laces from my water boots, threw them over a rafter, and then froze, cold as ice. But God didn't want that. Not exactly that, at any rate. He's after something quite other. At the end of the Bardos, there is no rainbow. Only an unassuming lemonade stand, operated by a lonely little blonde-haired girl whose face is hidden behind angelic curls and a deeply bowed head. Thirsty, exhausted, death-drunk, expecting nothing. Don't pull that goddamn sword from the tree. It only prolongs the awful sitcom you wish you had never turned on in the first place. There's static in the attic, in the foyer, and the living room has become a makeshift mausoleum. Grandma would have cropped the dog's ears Had the cat's not eaten her first? The dog, of course, the dog. He sits regally on the futon, not a thought in his head. The incarnation of Charlemagne, the signatory of doom. When your neutered dog's dick sticks out like a bad cop's nightstick in a dark alley of a minority neighborhood, change is in the wind. Its rhythm rises in the honeysuckled cradles of myopic streets, through dark lashes worn down by underaged girls in svelte penthouses, where potted plants and parted ways pant heavily in ripped nets of embarrassed fishermen, blinded by greed, lust, and the savage idols of their youth. In Asia, careers grow on trees. Men languish away with bellies full of low-hanging fruit, and the lonely hearts of suffocating lungfish, mangled and stomped upon by the bound feet of illiterate poets. Poets like me, unborn and grasping.